Hello everyone, it's Professor Sadiq Noor, and today I am gonna show you and demonstrate to you how to complete SAM Project A Excel Module 08 working with Trendlines, PivotTable report, PivotChart report, and the slicer. So let's start. So I'm already in the canvas and the assignment is under the modules. I clicked SAM Project A Excel Module 08 working with the thread lines, PivotTable report, PivotChart report, and the slicer. So click on it. Be sure your pop-ups are on. Click the link. It's gonna take you to Cengage. Then click Start. Now it's two files that you need to download. One will be your instruction file. The other one is gonna be the start file. So I will download both the files simultaneously. So the two files is being downloaded. Now you can close the Mind tab Cengage as you're gonna be working offline. And then I will minimize it. I will go to my File Explorer, the yellow folder on my task bar. These are the two files I downloaded. So click on the Microsoft Word first, the instruction one. And then I will zoom it so that we can read. And then I will go back to the yellow folder and I will open the Excel file. And then you need to enable it. So remember, the first thing you will be the documentation tab here. See, the worksheet is the documentation, so don't do anything in here. Okay? We have to work on these worksheets. So let's go and let's read. So the first part of the assignment here, get started. It only says that what you need to do is when you downloaded the file, the start file, you have downloaded the file with one on it, right? So when you're gonna upload your assignment for grading, right, you have to be sure that you change the 1 to 2. That's the only thing you need to do. Don't change anything else. Just change it and it should look similar like this here. Okay? It's gonna be your first name, last name, and then underscore 2. All right? Now we're gonna go down and read. So the project Shelby Cookie is a financial analyst for at your doorstep, an online grocery delivery service in Cleveland, Ohio. She is using an Excel workbook to analyze the company's recent financial performance and ask for your help in creating advanced types of chart and pivot table to provide an overview of a delivery services, customers, and stores. So the first thing is that we have to go to the delivery worksheet, which contains the table name services in the range B3 all the way to G17 that contains the data about the grocery deliveries. Shelby asks you to create a chart comparing the total charges to three services types to identify the median charge by the service type. Insert a chart as follows. So now we need to work on the worksheet deliveries, and then we have to follow the step as we need to complete the step A, B, C, and D. So first go back to Excel, click on the worksheet deliveries, and then create a box and whisker chart based on the service type data range C3 all the way to C17. C column C and 3. So this one here, and then and the total charge data in the range of G3 all the way to G17. So hold the control key down and select G3 all the way to G17. Now release your finger from the control key. Now what we need is we have to create the box and whisker chart. So after we select it, we have to go to the Insert tab. Then we have to go to the chart group on the ribbon. Click on Recommended Chart. Click on All Chart, and then All Charts, and then look for box and whisker. And then click OK. Perfect. Now, the next step, resize and position the chart so that it covers the area B19 to G23. G23, so B19. When you see the 4 black arrows, drag it to B22, B19 to G. So B19 all the way to G33. Perfect. Now C. Use the total charge by service type as the title. So what I will do, I will copy this. Control C to copy. Go back, select the title, and click inside to highlight the chart title and paste. Now we don't need the color, the boldface, so you can highlight it. Go back to the Home tab, and then if it's boldface, take it out. Perfect. So now we have done with this. All right. Now the next is they say format the series using the default gradient field to make the data easier to interpret. So that's okay. Because I looked down here. If you scroll all the way down, so I don't see anything being changed. Except let's see if we go, you can select, okay. So let's see what's the last option they said to do. So format the data series using the default gradient field to make the data easier to interpret. So once we have selected, you can do right click and then you can go format the plot area and then fill and then gradient. You can do like this also, or you can do undo, close it, select, and then do right click format the data series, right? And then go to the bucket, gradient, and then that's what they need by default, and then close it. Perfect. Next, step number 2. The deliveries worksheet also contains the table named deliveries in the range I3 to K10 that compares the delivery data for each day of the week. So Shelby asked you to create the chart that shows the relationship between the day and the delivery made. So we need to create a chart, actually, a scatter chart. So insert a scatter chart that shows the relationship between the day of the week, which is range I3 to I10, and the number of deliveries made. So let's go. So I3, and then I3 to I10, perfect. And then we need to select K3. Hold the control key down. Select K deliveries all the way to 330, which is the K10. So when you have to select non-adjacent cells, you have to select the control key. So once we have selected it, we have to create a scatter chart. Then we're gonna go to insert the chart group on the ribbon. Click on recommended chart. You can click on the second tab, all chart. And then we are looking for a scatter. All right, a scatter. And then we have different kinds here. A scatter with line. So let's see which is scatter. It's just a scatter. And then click OK. So the scatter chart is inserted. Now we need to resize the positioning of the scatter chart so that it covers I12 all the way to M22. That's I12. So you can select perfect and M. So we need to stretch it a little bit. Perfect. And then we want to go all the way to stretch it to 33. You can select the row 33. You can move it a little bit. Perfect. Now use the deliveries and days of the week as the title. So deliveries was already there, so we're gonna copy this. Space. And then we have to remove the boldface. Perfect. Deliveries and days of the week is the title. Now Shelby wants to further analyze the relationship between the deliveries and the days of the week. All right. So we need to add logarithmic thread line to the scatter chart. So select the chart and then go to the green plus icon, which is the chart element. You will see the thread line. Click the right arrow for the thread line and then click more. And then we are looking for the logarithmic, this one here, and then close it. Perfect. Now go to the customer's worksheet. So before that, add logarithmic thread line to the scale. So we did that. So everything look perfect. Now if we go down, without what we created, this one here. Perfect. Now step number 4. We need to go to the customer worksheet, which is the list of customer detail in a table named customers. Shelby wants to display the number of customer that has deliveries made to their homes or offices or to pick up in the store. So we need to insert a recommended pivot chart based on the customer table as follows. So let's go customer, and then we're gonna select anywhere you can just select. And then we have to go to insert recommended pivot table under the table group. Under the insert tab, the ribbon, on the ribbon you will see table groups. Click on recommended pivot table and then insert a recommended pivot based on the customer table as follows. Insert the count of customer by location recommended table, pivot table. So if you look down here, count of customer location, so the first one, and click OK. Perfect. It is a new sheet, as you see here. Now use the delivery location as the name of the new worksheet. So I will copy Control and C. Double click the sheet 1 and Control and V to paste and press enter. All right. Delivery location. Now we need to apply the light green pivot style 9, medium 9 style to the pivot table. So select the pivot table. So let me zoom a little bit. Perfect. Now we have to go to Design tab, the contextual tab, Design, and then you will see these are the pivot style. Then if you go to the pivot, also you have a bunch of options see here, right? So we will go back to the design and then click the black down arrow and then we want medium. So light green pivot medium style medium 9. So let's read again. Light green pivot style medium 9. light green, beaver stab. Light green, beaver stab, medium 9. So click and select. Now add the charge field to the values area of the field list and then change its summary function to average so that Shelby can determine the average charge for delivery location. So we need to add the charge field to the value area of the field list. These are the field list here. So we need to add. So the charge is already here. Let's read again. So we need to add the charge field to the value area of the field list and then change its summary function to average so that shall be continuous. So instead of being sum, click it, change the value, change value field setting. You see value field setting, click on it, average, and click OK. Go back and then change the number format of the average of charge value field to currency with 2 decimal places and the dollar amount symbol. So it's already a dollar amount. So let's see how to do it. You will highlight, you will do right click, you will go to number format, is currency already, 2 and the dollar amount and then OK. Next, use the total customers as the column heading in B3 and use average charge as the column heading in C3. So what we want to do is we want to have the customers. So we will have to use the total customer as the column heading in B3. Select the customer. And then use the total customer as the column heading in B3 and use the average charge. So we need to change now. So this one here, we will double click it. And then it's count. And then we need to change here to a total. Is it total customer? Total customers. All right. And then the next one we want to say average charge. average charge. Now we need to select this again. It changed it back. And then right click, number format. Be sure to select currency and then click OK. Then we have to go back and check. So it has to be the total customer and the average. Where do you feel let's see again. The average. So I will remove it and then I will do it again. Let's do it again, guys. I will delete it. So we have to go back to the customer table. So let's go back. We were here, step number 4. So insert a recommended pivot table based on the customer table as follows. Then insert the count of customer by location recommended by pivot table. So let's go back. Insert. Then on the ribbon, you will see the group tables, recommended pivot, and then we want count of customer by location. This one, the second one. Click OK. Perfect. Now we need to name the worksheet as delivery location. Control C to copy. And then double click the sheet 1, sheet 2. And then Control and V to paste and press enter. So we named it as delivery location instead of being sheet 2. So let me zoom. Now let's go and read. Apply the light green beaver style medium 9. So select, go to design tab. This is the beaver table style medium, and they are looking for light green beaver style medium 9. Perfect. Add the charge field to the values area of the field list and then change its summary function to average. So charge and they add it as a sum. All right. So you will click the drop down and then you will go to value field setting. And then from the dialog box, you will need to change it to average and then click OK. Perfect. Now change the number format of the average of the charge value from to currency with two decimals. So it's already two decimals. I can show you if it's not in a dollar amount, how you gonna change it. If it's just a number like this one. So you will do right click. You will go to number format. You will have to choose currency, two decimal place, the dollar amount, and then OK. Now use the total customers as the column heading in B3. So B3, double click it and change to total customers. Click OK. And then we need average charge. So you can copy it. Double click it. That's the C3. We want to change the name. Click OK. Perfect. Now we're done with step number 4. Step number 5. Insert a pivot chart based on the pivot table as follows to help Shelby you visualize the data. Insert a combo pivot chart based on the pivot table. So we already created the pivot, we will create a chart now. So select anywhere inside the pivot table and then go to pivot table analyze and then you will see the group that says tools. Click on pivot chart and then we are looking for combo. Click on combo and then what they said next, insert the combo pivot chart based on the new pivot table. So we done that. Now display the total customer as a cluster column chart and the average charge as a line chart and then include the secondary access for the average charge data. So here it said the total is the cluster, average is the line, and then we want to check on secondary access will be the average. Include the secondary access for the average charge data. So we check that box. Now hide the field list so that you have room to format the chart. So if you look here under the show, you can click on field list to hide the field list. Okay, so before that, let's click OK. Now let's select, let's go to the design and then you see here it says field list, so we can hide it and then we can work on this and then you can drag this here. Perfect. Now let's go and read again. Change the minimum bounds for the value access on the right to 6. You see, it's from 9 to 11. We need to change this. So right click and then you will click on format access. And then here is the access option bound. You see the bound here. So we have to change what the minimum on the right to 6, the minimum to 6, and then you can close it. As you see, start with 6, the minimum all the way to 12. Now change the PivotChart color to chromatic palette 1. So we need to go to design, and then also you can format, right? So click on the color and then monochromatic and then palette 1. Perfect. Resize and position the chart so that it covered D3 all the way to K17. K17 is already on 17. D3. Perfect. Then display the field list again. So you can go here and then go to the PivotChart analyze and then click on field list under the show and hide. All right. Now we're done with step number 5. Number 6. Shelby also wants you to insert a pivot table that include other customer data so that she can analyze the customer and schedule a delivery information, return to the customer worksheet, and then create a pivot table based on the customer as follows. And then we have to name the new worksheet as customer pivot, right? So let's go back. Let's go to the customer, click anywhere inside the customer, and then go to insert, and then the pivot table, and just we can click blank. All right, and then we have to name Control and V. I paste it. If not, then go back, highlight, Control and C to copy, and then press the enter key. Now what we need to display the location field as a column heading. So from the field list, check the customer. Okay. We need location, sorry. The location, and then display the location as the column heading. So it's not a row, we need column, so you can drag it here. All right. Now go down. Display the area field and the customer field as a row. So click the area and then the customer. All right. So we want the customer to be as a row, so you can drag it here. So display the area field and then the customer field as a row heading. So you have to drag it from the values to the row section. Now display the year field as a value. So the year you can check it, and that will be the value. So display the year field as the value. Now display the service type field as a filter, and then filter the pivot table to display the customer information for scheduled delivery only. So the service type, click, and then we need to drag it under the filter box. So move your cursor over it and drag it. As you see, it adds a new section, filters type. So this is your filter now. And we want to filter by complete, by schedule. So check schedule and click OK. So the service tab is scheduled and the record is being sorted or filtered by scheduled. All right. And then hide the field header to reduce the clutter in the pivot table. And then if you look here, the field heading. Perfect. Now, if we kinda compare and see, that's what we did so. Next, step number 7. Step number 7 is go to the store worksheet. The store table in the range B3 all the way to E14 shows the sale from 3 categories of store deliveries, with each category divided into types and then into store names. Shelby wants you to display these hierarchies of information in a chart. So we need to go to the store table. So you can click the dots until you see stores. All right. Now we need to insert a sunburst chart to display the hierarchies for Shelby as follows. In the sunburst chart based on the stored data in the range B3 all the way to E14, B3 all the way to E14. So they want the whole thing. Now we're gonna go to Insert tab. Then we're gonna go to the Chart Recommended. And then you see that's the one here. You can also do all chart, and then you can go to the sunburst and click, and then OK. Now we need to resize and position the chart so that it covers the range G3 to L24. G3 all the way to L24. So you can check the 24 row, so we need to a little bit to move down. We need a little to move it back. Perfect. And 3. Perfect. And L. All right, perfect. From G3 to L24. L24. Now use the participating stores as the chart title. So highlight it. And then click on the chart title, highlight, and paste. Now I will click and highlight again, remove the boldface. Participating stores. So we're done with step number 7. Number 8. Go to the customers by service worksheet, which contain the pivot table showing the number of customers, stores, and charges for each service type, delivery location, and an area. Shelby does not need to display the charges but does want to compare the subtotal of the customers and stores for each delivery location within the service types. Okay. So we need to go to customer by service. Customer, the worksheet that is customer by service. Click on it. All right. So modify the pivot table for Shelby as follows. Remove the sum of charges field from the values area. Click. You will get the field list in the right hand side here. So we need to remove the sum of the charge. Remove the sum of the charge field from the values area. So to remove it, select and drag it back to this box here. We took it off. Now change the report layout to tabular form. So click again. Go to the pivot design. You will see the layout group on the ribbon. Click on report layout and we want to show in a tabular form. Perfect. Tabular form. Now go to the deliveries pivot worksheet, which contain the pivot table listing the order amount and numbers of deliveries for each day of the week. Shelby wants you to include the amount per delivery. All right. So we need delivery pivot. Delivery. So click on the dot to see it. Deliveries pivot. Okay. So let's move up. Step number 9. Reorder the field and add the calculated field to the pivot table as follows. So change the order of the fields in the value area to display the sum of the amount field before the deliveries. So click and then sum of the amount, move it above until you see the horizontal line, the green line. then release your finger. That's how to make a switch between the locations. So now the sum of the amount will be the first, then the sum of deliveries. Now change, we did that, the field in the value area to display the sum before the sum of the delivery. Now create a calculated field using the per delivery as its name. So I will copy this. So click here, go here, and then you will see the calculation group on the ribbon. Click on this one here and click on calculated field, and then the name that we copied will be per delivery, and then we have to delete the 0. Now what we want to do, the formula should divide the amount field value by the deliveries field value to calculate the amount per delivery. So the amount divided by the delivery. And then you will click add. And then OK. All right. Now use the amount per delivery in the D1 as the column. So copy this, Control and C. D1. So double click this and change the name. And then OK. And then change the number format of the amount per delivery value field to currency with 2 decimal place and the dollar amount. So highlight and then do right click, go to the number format, currency, and then OK. Perfect. Now let's go down and see, did we did perfectly? Perfect. So let's go up. Step number 10. Go to the location pivot worksheet, which contain the pivot table and the pivot chart that should show the total charges according to the delivery location and area. So we want to go to location pivot. This is the location pivot. All right. Now click anywhere and then let's see what is next. Move the area field below the location field in the row area so that the pivot is easier to interpret. So we want the area, and instead of being in the as a column, they say move the area field from below the location field. So the area was the column, so we need as a row. So drag it until you see the green horizontal line that releases there. Perfect. Now, step number 11. Make the pivot chart easier to understand and use as follows. Change the pivot chart to cluster column. So select the chart. Then go to pivot, go to the design, and then you will see the type. So click on the type, and then they say cluster column. Cluster column is the first one. And click OK. Okay, we changed it to cluster column. Apply layout 3 to the pivot chart to display the legend below the chart. And then apply the monochromatic palette 1 color if the color change when you change the chart. So let's go to the quick layout, and we are looking for layout 3, and then go to the change color, and then we want monochromatic palette 1. Perfect. Now increase the height of the chart until the lower end corner is G40. So this is G40. Perfect. G40. Now, step number 12, the last step. Add the slicer to the pivot table and the pivot chart as follows to make it easy for Shelby to filter the data. So we need to add a slicer based on the store field. So let's go up. And then we're gonna go to go to the pivot table analyze tab, and then you will see the filter. So you can filter the information in the pivot table by the slicer. So click insert slicer. Now you wanna filter by which column, which field. We are looking for stores, and then click OK. Now, without resizing, the position is so that the upper corner is in G2. When you see the 4 black arrow, drag it to G2. Perfect. G2. So this is like a filter kind of, you can filter this information in the pivot table. Now use the slicer to filter the pivot table and the pivot chart to display delivery location with 10, 11, and 12 stores only. So what you can do, select 10, then hold the shift key, select 11 and 12. So these are the ones that you selected. As you select 10, 11, and 12, you will see that your chart also has scheduled. See the chart change to the store 10, 11, and 12. All right. So let's go back and let's check. There you go. Perfect. Now it looks perfect. Now close it. Now cancel. Let's save it as one from one to two. So you will do file, save as, browse. Now it says one. You will take off the one. It's gonna say like this. So take out the one, replace it by two, and click save. Now close it. Close the direction, the instruction file. Let's go back. We're gonna close it. Refresh. Go to the assignment, which is the SAM project, A, Excel, Manual 08, working with the thread line, PivotTable report, PivotChart report, and the slicer. So click it to launch it. You will click start. You're done with the first box. Now it's time to check what you have scored. So click the box where my mouse is indicating here, and then go to the downloads and select the two. Click open and submit. Submit for grade. Now let's see what you scored. Check the grade summary report and then click it. As you see, I scored 100 out of 100. So if you did wrong, obviously they're gonna be in a red instead of green check, right? So you're gonna go all the way down. And I don't have any red stuff. That's why I scored 100 out of 100. So with that, I hope that you learn how to complete the Module 8 assignment, the project. So I will also attach the files associated with this project. If anyone wants to follow the steps with me, you can do so. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and also be sure to like and comments on the videos. And also, if you want to support me so that I can create more productive videos for you, you can do so. Thank you so much for viewing the video. So I hope you learn, practice, and you should score 100 out of 100. So thank you. Have a nice and have a blessed day. Thank you. Bye.